Good evening and welcome to Terrace Talk, and this is Bushy's and Bez's Championship predictions. Obviously, we are starting the predictions. Predictions are already coming up before we've gone. So we are going to be doing a review of the predictions as well. Obviously, we're new to this, so we will start doing them going forward as well. So we're going to start with the first game. I think it's the Friday night game, isn't this, Bez? Friday night.
That's correct. Yeah.
So
local derby, arguably.
Yeah, derby, sheep shagging derby. They like sheep over there, don't they? Hollywood versus the dump that is Swansea. So I'm probably going to go with Hollywood's finest. I've gone 2-1. I think Wrexham are going to, sort of push the six now, aren't they, in the table? So I've gone for a 2-1 victory. What have you gone with, Bez?
Yes, exactly the same as yourself, Lee. So I've also gone Wrexham 2, Swansea 1. It's the first time these two have played each other in what seems like a long time, obviously with Wrexham being in the lower leagues, the conference. So they've not played each other for a while. I just imagine that Wrexham will be up for it. They've got a good home record. I know they've lost tonight. They've lost tonight as they were recording. We're recording on Tuesday evening. They've just lost at home to Hull. But I expect them to bounce straight back. And Wrexham obviously going for the playoffs. Swansea lingering in mid-table. I can only really see one winner, and for me, that's Wrexham.
So we've both gone 2-1 on that one, so that'll be interesting. On to the next game. So the next game is Coventry versus Southampton. So for me, my pick at the start of the season was Coventry to win the league. Obviously, currently top on 74 points. Portsmouth only on 40 points. Could get dragged into a relegation battle. What am I talking about? Southampton even. Southampton it's been a long day. So Southampton at 8th. So they're obviously trying to get sort of playoffs. I think Southampton playoffs. They've got a good side, but I just think Coventry are the best team in the Championship, and I think they will be crowned champions. I don't see anybody pipping them to that. So I've gone for a 2-1 Coventry victory.
Yeah, I've gone slightly different. I've gone Coventry 2, Southampton 2. I half agree with you. I do. Coventry are definitely one of the best sides in the division. Whether they're the best or that, I'm not quite sure. I personally still think Ipswich, Middlesbrough, I think they're just as good in terms of overall quality. The reason I've gone for a draw is, Coventry, if you look over the last, 8 weeks, Coventry have slipped up a little bit. They were, 10, 11 points clear about 2 months ago, and now the gap's a little bit closer, whereas Southampton...
Is it 7 points? They're still clear? And they're in the way clear of Ipswich.
I'll just check. Well, so the 5 points clear of Middlesbrough and 6 points clear of Millwall. So, as I said, 2 months ago, it was like 10 points to 12 points. Now, to be fair to Coventry, they've won, I think 5 in a row. So they have kind of got over that dodgy spell, I guess. The reason I'm going to draw this more to do with Southampton, because Southampton, they were towards the bottom of the league about 2-3 months ago. They managed to turn it around. Say that again, sorry, Lee?
Yeah, they have shot up the table, haven't they, since...
Yeah. And also their form is almost as good as Coventry. They've won 4 and drawn 1 in their last 5 games. So, I just think that both teams will cancel each other out. I do think it'll be a nice scoring game, which is why I've got 2-2. I fancy Southampton to just nick those playoff spots. Whether they go up or not, I don't know. But I think they'll get playoffs. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Coventry, Southampton.
On to the next game, and it's going to be Middlesbrough versus Bristol City. So Bristol City are just, for me, middle of the road team. They always finish sort of mid-table. Middlesbrough always bottle it. So I think it'll be a tight game. But I think Middlesbrough will edge this one. I've gone for 2-1. But I think Middlesbrough could bottle it again. But Bristol are just a mid-table team, so I don't think they'll cause them enough problems to get a result out of the game. But I think it'll be a close, because I think the nerves will be with Middlesbrough at this stage of the season.
You realise, Lee, you are allowed to say another score. You've had 2-1 in all 3 games so far to the open.
Yeah, I like a 2-1. 2-1. I like a 2-1.
So I pretty much agree with yourself, Lee. I've just gone Middlesbrough 2, Bristol City 0. So just a slight difference to yourself. I do think you're right. Middlesbrough this stage of season, they always tend to struggle. They did get over the line, 10, 12 years ago when it was Aitor Karanka in charge. And even then, they had a struggle because I can remember them losing to Rotherham 1-0. And then on the Saturday afterwards, or the Saturday before, I can't remember which way around it were, they lost to another relegation threatened team in Charlton 1-0. So it was almost like they were bottling it then, but they managed to get through that and get promoted. I think it's going to be tight this year. They're 4 points clear Ipswich. I think Ipswich are going to catch him, unfortunately. And I think Ipswich are going to get that second spot. But for this game, I do think Middlesbrough have got enough. Bristol City's form at the minute is horrendous. They've lost 4 out of the last 5 games. And they're also your typical championship side. 11th in the league, 0 goal difference, 50 points, 14 wins, 15 defeats. Literally the most boring championship club you could ever come across. And they're always in that area. So, yeah, Middlesbrough 2, Bristol City 0.
Fair enough. On to the next game, Oxford United versus Charlton. For me, I've gone with an Oxford win. I think Charlton think they are safe with 44 points, but you need 50 roughly for the championship, should keep you up. But I've got a feeling Charlton are going to be a surprise team that get dragged into that relegation battle. And I've just got a feeling Oxford are going to pick up some points in this one. I've gone 1-0, not 2-1, 1-0.
Yeah.
I've changed the 2-1 Bush to a 1-0.
But you still got four home wins in a row, though. You don't like your away teams, do you, Lee?
No, not in the championship. I think if you look at the majority of teams, a lot of the teams are better at home than they are away in the championship. It is one of them leagues. I mean, I can remember Rotherham in there. They were always better at home than there was than away. We very rarely got any points away from home. And I think a lot of teams are like that. Unless you've got the elite teams at the top end of that table, the rest of them tend to get the results at home. So I think it'll be a tight game. I don't think there's much between the two teams. But I think Oxford will edge this one.
Yeah, with regards to a tight game, I fully agree. And that's why I've gone Oxford 0, Charlton 0. A bit of a raw draw. Now, the reason I've gone for this is because I think you're right, Lee. I think Charlton have probably just about got enough points now to pretty much guarantee safety. As you've said, 50 points is normally the way. And the way I think Charlton are going to get to that 50 points is they'll pick up a win between now and end of the season. And I just think they'll grind out 3 draws, and that gets you your 50 points. And this is one of them. I think Oxford, the pressure's on Oxford. This is a game that they really need to win if they want to try and stave off relegation. They've had 2 good wins, 2 wins out of 2. The win against West Brom, it wasn't. I wasn't too surprised at that because I think West Brom were struggling. But the win away at Preston, that was a great win. To be fair, I know Preston are in poor form, but to go to Preston and get a 3-1 win, fair play. My only concern for Oxford is, and I don't mind the manager. the ex-Luton guy, I forgot his name now, the ex-Wickham guy as well. But what I don't like about him is that he did something very similar to Luton last year. So he kind of came in, well, when Luton were in the bottom three, he had a couple of good results, like he has done with Oxford, which dragged them out of the bottom three, but then they ended up going down anyway still, and I can just see the same happening this time round as well. And I do think if a draw here for Charlton is a lot better result for Charlton than it is Oxford.
And that's why I think Oxford will pinch it, because I think Charlton will probably be happy with a draw, and I think Oxford need to win. So I think with them being the home team, I think they'll just pip it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm sticking with my 0-0 there. I just think it'll be it's a game that Charlton will go there. Like you said, they'll almost hang on all game for a point, and I think they'll get it. Matt Bloomfield, that's the manager. I couldn't think of his name. Matt Bloomfield.
Yeah, on to the next game. So Birmingham and Sheffield United. Now you look at this, and I think people will say it's going to be a close game. It's 12th versus 13th. Sheffield United only above them on goal difference. But I think the squads are years apart. I think Sheffield United have got a much better squad than Birmingham. And I know people are going to say, crazy, how can Sheffield United make the playoffs? They're only on 49 points. But I'm still telling you, they're getting the playoffs. I know they're not still, I mean, they got a draw at the last game, I believe, at the weekend at home, which was a disappointment. But I still feel they've got so much quality in that squad. And I think they'll steamroll past Birmingham. I'm going 2-0 Sheffield United.
Yeah, and this is where I probably do disagree with yourself, Lee. I think they've given themselves too much to do, Sheffield United, and I think they'll fall short. I've gone for a 1-1 draw. Now, the reason I've gone for a 1-1 draw rather than a Sheffield United win is because I think the result on Saturday for Sheffield United, where they only drew 1-1 with West Brom, I think that tells you that they're a little bit too inconsistent to kind of grind results out. Now, the form in the last 5 games is actually good. You know, they've won 3, lost 1, and drawn 1. But to me, that West Brom result was a very poor result. I really do believe West Brom are in trouble and they're going down. Now, from the Birmingham point of view, the manager, I think, is under pressure. Now, I think they've lost 3 games in a row now at Birmingham. But, to be fair, 2 of them are against two of the top 3 sides, Millwall and Middlesbrough. But the defeat against Charlton on Saturday was disappointing. I think he's under that much pressure, the manager, that he'll need something from this game to keep his job. So that's why I've kind of gone Birmingham 1, Sheffield United 1.
Interesting. On to the next game then. So, which brings us on to Leicester City against QPR. So I've gone for a straightforward 2-0 victory. I think Leicester are in a false position as well. I think they're a much better squad on paper. Players like Daka in there. I just can't see Leicester getting relegated with the quality they've got in that squad. And if you ever want a home game in the Championship, you would pick QPR all day long, because they are the definition of below mid-table you're ever going to get. They're never going to get above mid-table. They're never going to get relegated, probably. They'll always be around the bottom area, but not quite far enough to get relegated. But if you're a struggling team, I remember Rotherham, where, you know, there were the games you'd look for to beat a QPR, because they were very soft away from home. And they have been traditionally. If it was the reverse way around, obviously I'd give QPR a bit more of a shout. But with it being at Leicester needing the points, QPR, I don't think they're going to get dragged into a relegation battle. 16th, they're already on 47 points. So they only need one more win to really stay up realistically. I don't think they're going to really pull out all the stops at Leicester, and I think Leicester will win comfortable 2-0 for me.
Yeah, and I pretty much agree with absolutely everything you said there, Lee. I've also gone Leicester 2, Creespot Rangers 0. Leicester got a great win this evening. As I said, we're recording on Tuesday against Bristol City. When Guy came into Leicester, straight away, we all knew they were going to get out of that. And there's no way that team with that manager go down. And tonight was the start of Leicester picking up points, which will do them or keep them out of the bottom three. And this is another game where they pick up 3 points, another 2-0 win. Agree on QPR as well. I don't, like you said, they're not going to get dragged into the relegation zone. They only need, one win? I mean, you could say they only need 3 draws, which I think they can get. So they're pretty much safe. I'd say anyone from Norwich and above, I would say, are safe. Now, the only reason I've said Norwich in there is just because since their new managers come in, the form's been excellent. So for me, anyone that's above Norwich, well done. You're guaranteed a championship place next season. And QPR, I think in order for them to kind of progress, because I think you're right, Lee, they don't really look like even breaking that top half at the minute. I think they need some financial backing. Otherwise, they're just going to stay in and around the bottom 8. And not just that, if the longer you stay in the bottom 8 season after season, eventually that will catch you out, like Cardiff. They went down, like Birmingham as well. So if QPR don't invest, there's a higher chance that they could go down than there's going up in the next 2 or 3 years.
I think it affects the recruitment as well, because you kind of get known for, well, if I go to QPR, I'm not going to get anywhere this season. I'm just going to, and I could potentially get involved in a relegation battle one of the seasons, because like you said, eventually it could catch up with them. So, yeah, totally agree. On to the next game, and me, one of the favourite teams in this league at the minute is Millwall. And I think we're talking about relegation. I think Blackburn will go down. I honestly believe they'll go down. They let the manager go to Derby last season, and they've never really recovered. They're another team that if you get them at home, you fancy your chances. And even if going to Blackburn, I remember Rotherham going to Blackburn and as fancying his chances. Not that we actually got anything, but you fancy your chances there. And I think Millwall, for me, I know you've mentioned Ipswich, but I put Millwall above Ipswich from what I've seen them this season. They have been a team that have really, I've had to double take at what they're doing at the minute, Millwall. And I don't see them slowing down. A comfortable 2-0 victory. I think it could even be more. I think they might get 3 or 4, but I've gone with 2 because I know Blackburn will be scrapping, because they are going to get dragged into a relegation battle. They're only on 39 points. As I say, usually 50 probably keeps you up in that league. I mean, West Brom are only a couple of points behind them. Oxford a couple of wins behind them. Obviously, Wednesday are relegated. But out of them teams, what I think Charlton and Blackburn and Portsmouth, it's that their battle with it, because I don't think Leicester will go down, and I don't actually think West Brom will end up going down. I believe it'll be one of Charlton, Portsmouth, or Blackburn that get relegated.
Interesting. So, firstly, my result, I've got a Millwall win. I've just gone 1-0. And I'll start with talking about Millwall. I love Millwall. This, to me, is how a club the size of Millwall should be run. To me, they're a bigger side than Rotherham. Not saying they aren't, but there's not a lot in it. Millwall were averaging 4 or 5 years ago in the Championship, 12, 13,000. Rotherham were averaging 10, 11. But if Rotherham had have had the same size ground as Millwall, they'd have been averaging the same. And I'm not saying that because of the home fans. A lot more away fans would have come. You know, we'll play Aston Villa, Leeds United, Sheffield Wednesday. All these clubs will have brought more fans. So that to me makes Rotherham and Millwall very similar. And I look at Millwall.
When you towards the top end of the Championship, it attracts more fans anyway.
Exactly.
No matter what people say, every club attracts more supporters when they're doing well. And you call them fair weather supporters, but every club's got them. You know, people mock certain clubs for it, but every club's got it.
Of course they have, Fact of life. Yeah.
If you're not doing as well, people don't want to go.
No, can't disagree with that. And it's like I say, it's fact of life. And just this Millwall side, I just love the way they've gone about their business. They've not overspent, but they have spent money. And they have improved every single year. So Millwall have done exactly what the clubs like Rotherham should do, like Oxford should do, although they're going to go down. They got into the Championship. Yes, there were a couple of relegations back into League One, but eventually they managed to get up to safety quite easily. Then they went into mid-table. And then a couple of years ago, they were just on edge at playoffs. And obviously they lost, I think, that last game. And Sunderland kind of picked them last game of the season. And now they're fighting not only for playoffs, but for the top two. Now, I don't agree with yourself, Lee, where you obviously got Millwall finished above Ipswich. I think that Ipswich will go above them. And it's because of that reason I've kind of just said what happened to Millwall 2 or 3 years ago in the playoffs. Ipswich have got form and they know how to see seasons out, whether it be League One, where they won promotion 3 years ago, or whether it was Championship 2 years ago, where they won promotion. So they've got the experience of seeing the season out, whereas Millwall haven't quite yet. And I think Ipswich, that's just enough for me for Ipswich to finish above Millwall. And I ultimately think Millwall will end up finishing fourth. I really hope they go up. Like, I'm out of all those teams in the playoffs, I really want Millwall to go up. And it would be funny if West Ham came down as well, because obviously they're big rivals. I love Millwall's ground. I love the fact that Millwall's ground is actually Harchester United's ground, because if you didn't know, Sky used Millwall's ground for Harchester's ground on the series Dream Team. And yeah, I really hope they do it. Quickly on Blackburn, again, I do think they're in a relegation battle. I agree with you, Lee. However, the manager that they've appointed, Michael O'Neill, I think he's good enough to keep this team up. I agree, Leicester, they'll be nowhere near it. I think Charlton, they're 4 points clear of Portsmouth already. As we've said, they only need 6 points and they're safe. So to me, it's between West Brom, Blackburn and Portsmouth. I just think Michael O'Neill is a good enough manager to keep Blackburn out of the bottom three.
Fair enough. On to the next game, Norwich versus Preston. So very similar. So I agree with you, Bez, with the Millwall thing. So I see Millwall as the blueprint for what Rotherham United should be doing. In fact, I see not only them, I see Brentford and I see Brighton, similar sized clubs to Rotherham. And people will laugh now because Brighton and Brentford have been in the Premier League, and Bournemouth as well. I had them into it. Yeah. But these are the blueprints of how if you invest right and you spend some money, you don't have to be a big club, because money talks in football now. It's not about fan size. Man City are the perfect example of that. They're never, ever going to be as big as sort of a Manchester United, but they're winning more and more because they've got the money, they've got the financial backing. It's all about that. And I think you look at Millwall and another team, Preston. I remember playing them in the playoffs to get up. And I see them as a similar size club, but they've done what we couldn't do. They've become a mid-table championship team, and that's what you need to do. I think Millwall done it. Now Millwall are kind of a bit better than Preston. They're pushing on a bit. They're looking at the playoffs and trying to get promoted, where Preston, again, it's just another mid-table season for them. I don't think they're a terrible team. I just think they're an established championship side now. However, I think they come up against Norwich, new manager, totally changed their outlook on life. Even though they're safe, I still think they'll want to win this game. The new manager will really enjoying his win per games ratio, so he'll want to continue that. And I think they'll edge this 1-0. I don't think they'll blow them away because Preston don't usually get hammered. So it'll be a difficult game for Norwich, but I think they'll edge it 1-0.
Yeah, and I've got a similar score. I've got Norwich winning 2-1. So obviously Norwich winning, just got a couple additional goals in there for either side. I'll start with Norwich. Again, it's another team that I really like. What a lot of people might not be aware of is Norwich did spend about 15 million quid in the summer. And it just didn't work out with the manager. And the fact that they were near the bottom for the first, 6 months of the season was very surprising. And I have to say, I was a little bit concerned for him at the time because the manager was Liam Manning. And, I really like Liam Manning. I think he's done a good job at most of the clubs he's been at. Yes, he's doing okay for Huddersfield, not great, but he's doing okay. So I was surprised that he was really struggling at Norwich. Obviously, they've now brought in a foreign manager, the ex-Rangers manager, Philippe Clement, and he's, like you said, Lee's turned it around. He's done an excellent job. But Norwich really are the sort of team who should be challenging the top. And as I said, because they've spent a lot of money, they really should be fighting for the top two. Never mind fighting for the playoffs. Should be fighting for the top two. And I think next season they will be. What I do like about Norwich as well is, you look at Rotherham, and Rotherham will say, need a striker, and they'll go out and get a striker, and that's it. They've got the striker and no more business. What I like about Norwich is they'll sign players for the first team when they need it, so a striker or midfielder or whoever, but they also look at bringing in 16, 17, 18-year-olds for their youth side. And that's why Norwich have always got a good kind of youth recruitment policy. And I'd love Rotherham to do that. Do you know if, obviously at the minute, it's not the right timing, but if Rotherham, in the summer said, we've just signed a 16-year-old kid from Chesterfield or the 60-year-old kid from even someone as low as Halifax or York. I like that because we're taking the best players from the region. That's what you want to do, and that's what Norwich do. And again, that's why they're able to spend this sort of money because they bring these youngsters in and they sell them for a good profit. Quickly on Preston, Preston to me they are now your typical Bristol City type Championship side. They did flirt with the top six earlier on in season, and I was surprised at how well they were doing under Paul Eckingbottom, but that has kind of drifted away now. And the form's really poor at the minute. They've lost 3, drawn 2 at last 5. Obviously, they're not going to go down. But if this season would have gone on an additional month, Preston, I felt, could have been dragged into the bottom 3. I thought Preston were going to be, relegation candidates at the start of the season. And to be fair to them, they've not done that. So fair play. But I'm still going Norwich 2, Preston 1.
Oh, yeah, I just disagree with you on the Manning thing as well. I don't rate him as a manager. I think he's very negative, and I think it was a poor appointment from Norwich. I don't think he suited their style of play, what you normally see a Norwich team play. So I think he was the wrong appointment. I think he's been awful at Huddersfield as well. I mean, the fans there don't like him.
They were doing it.
He overrated me as a manager. I don't think he carries the sort of weight that I think he thinks he does, or people think he does. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Liam Manning, to be fair. On to the next game, Sheffield Wednesday. So obviously Ipswich are going to be up there. Wednesday are relegated. Can't see anything other than an easy 3-0 victory for Ipswich. I've gone. Sheffield Wednesday in all kinds of trouble. Obviously, looks like they're going to get a 15-point deduction next season as well, because people aren't wanting to pay that extra money so they don't get it to Chansera. I were going to pick 3-1 because I think, as again I predicted last week, Yates would score, and he did. But I think Ipswich are are a class team, and I think they just will steamroll Sheffield Wednesday. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because I don't mind Sheffield Wednesday losing. I think they'll steamroll Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to go 3-0.
There's not a lot really to discuss on this game. I've also gone 3-0 to Ipswich as well. Sheffield Wednesday, worst team ever in the Championship. That's going to be a fact soon. Agreed with Jerry Yates. He's obviously now got 3 in 4 or something like that. So fair play to him. And to be fair to him, he's scoring goals when Sheffield Wednesday don't create a lot as a team. So, fair play to him. A lot of Rotherham fans would say that.
Did you hear his interview though? What a pillock! Oh,
his interview. No, what's he said?
Oh, he was going on like, oh, I can't believe like where we are in the league, and look at how many fans we've taken away, and oh, mate, grow up.
He's just played to crowd there, to be fair.
Yeah.
But again, there's a chance you could score. The reason I've gone for a 0 for Wednesday just because I think Ipswich are so good. The miles better than Wednesday. Comfortable 3-0 win. As I've already said, I still fancy Ipswich to nick that or nick one of the automatic positions.
Super. Next game up, and it is Stoke versus Watford. Now, I've gone, obviously, Watford are 9th. They are trying for the playoffs. So I was thinking, could they nick it a little bit? But I just think there's not much in it. I think, obviously, Stoke are 15th. They're at home. I can't see Watford going there and getting anything. I can't see him getting beat, Watford, but at the same time, I can't see him going to Stoke and getting the win. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, and again, I've also gone for a 1-1 draw. Watford, they were on a good run, and they did pull themselves to within 3-4 points at playoffs. But tonight's result against Sheffield Wednesday has cost them. They have only drawn 1-1 against Sheffield Wednesday in both games. So they've not even beaten Wednesday all season. Now, that's going to go against you. That's 4 points they've lost there, or 4 points they've dropped. With that 4 points added on, they're only a point outside the playoffs. So, I think they're too inconsistent at Watford. And I also think Stoke are inconsistent as well, which is why, it cancels each other out. And that's why I've also gone a 1-1 draw.
On to the next game then. So West Bromwich Albion versus Hull City. So Hull actually in 5th position. So really in the mix. And obviously West Brom are really in the mix, but in the wrong end of the table. But I think West Brom now, I've got a feeling West Brom will scrape staying up. I can't see West Brom, a club the size of West Brom, going down. Obviously, they got a point away at Sheffield United. Hull, traditionally, always there and thereabouts, but never really make it. So I think Hull will start slipping. Obviously, they've got Wrexham breathing down the necks. Derby are on real form as well. I think the pressure's going to get to Hull City, and I think they're going to only go there and get a point. It were teetering whether I thought Hull may nick it 2-1. I'll be honest. I thought could Hull sneak it, but I've just got a feeling West Brom, they're going to be sort of, I know people say it's only Sheffield United, but for me, Sheffield United are a top 5 side, and they got a point away from home at Bramall Lane, which isn't an easy place to go. Sheffield United were on a bit of form, so I've gone 1-1.
Yeah, and I've gone that 2-1 that you're kind of fighting between. Now, I think I already said it last week, and I've said it already at the start of this video. I really fear for West Brom. They're on their 3rd manager already. The 3rd manager is only a caretaker manager in James Morrison, who has hardly any managerial experience. I think he's done a caretaker spell at the club once or twice before, so that's his only experience. He's been confirmed until the end of the season, and that's what concerns me with West Brom. Now, the only kind of caveat to that is that I agree with you, Lee. I thought the West Brom result on Saturday was a brilliant result. The Sheffield United, yes, they're only mid-table, but as you rightly say, Lee, their squad, and if they've had Chris Wilder throughout the year rather than joining in November or December, whenever they would be in top 6. So to go to Sheffield United and get a draw, I think is a really good result. However, I just think it's a one-off. With Championship, we all say, don't we, that any team can beat anyone, and you'll see odd surprise results pretty much every single week. And to me, the Sheffield West Brom result was a surprise result, and it doesn't give me any confidence that West Brom are going to get out of this. Hull are 5th in the league, as you said, Lee. They've been consistent. They are 9 points, is it? They're 9 points clear of 7th place Derby. So, they'd have to go on a disastrous run to drop out, let's face it. And I think this is one of the results where they will go there and win. Hull have just gone to Wrexham tonight and won 2-1. And I'd say this is an easier game. So, I can't see anything but a Hull City win. And I'm sorry, West Brom fans, I said it last week. We'll say it again. I think your team are going down, I'm afraid.
Okay. On to the next game. Portsmouth versus Derby. So, Portsmouth, I think, are in real danger of going down. I don't think they've got the squad that's good enough to stay up, if I'm honest. And Derby, my pre-season prediction to get relegated, could sneak into them playoffs. I think they'll probably just miss out. But obviously with Wrexham losing tonight, they're only, not too many points away. They're on 54. Wrexham's on 57. But Wrexham's played a game less. Obviously, they've been involved in the FA Cup. But Derby could sneak into the playoffs. And I think with that in mind, I think they'll go for a win at Portsmouth. And their form is much better than Portsmouth's form. So I see Derby nicking it 2-1. But I think it'll be a tight game because Portsmouth will be looking for the home games to stay up. So they'll be targeting these games as ones that will at least try not to get beat at home and look to pick points at home to stay up.
Yeah, and I've gone a 2-2 draw. Now, it's almost the reverse of what Lee said when he was talking about West Brom and Hull, because obviously I've gone an away win in that game and Lee went with a draw. Portsmouth, they, again, like your typical Championship side, they've been very inconsistent all the way throughout the season. The reason I think Portsmouth will stay up is because when they seem to get close to those relegation places, like at the minute, they're 4 points clear of them. Within the next 2 weeks, they could only be a couple of points clear of them. When they generally get to that position, they tend to grab or get a good win. It's a little bit what Rotherham did when Rotherham managed to stop up in the Championship under Matt Taylor. They would get close to the bottom 3, and then they'd get a win at home to Middlesbrough or QPR or West Brom. And that's the reason why I do think Portsmouth will stay up. And for me, it's more likely Blackburn or West Brom. And as I already said, I do think it's West Brom who are going down. Derby, again, about 4 weeks, I think Derby were in the playoffs, and then they lost, I think, 2 or 3 games in a row, and then they kind of dropped out. A little bit inconsistent. They can catch Wrexham, obviously 3 points adrift. But as you said, Lee, Wrexham do have that game in hand. I think it's going to be difficult for them. They've got Southampton breathing down their necks behind them. But Southampton have 2 games in hand. And I actually think it will be Southampton who'll get that 6th spot, which means Wrexham and Derby will drop out. I do think Wrexham will, this FA Cup run might actually do them no favours, Wrexham, because they might run out of steam towards the end of the season. I know they've got knocked out now, but yeah, I think they might run out of steam, Wrexham, and they'll just not quite have enough. But Wrexham are going to finish in top half, that is a fact. And to be fair to Wrexham, that's a brilliant achievement in their first. I know they spent a lot of money, but as you know, spending money doesn't guarantee success in this league. And the fact that they have got a top half finish is brilliant. So yeah, Derby and Derby will get a draw against Portsmouth, cancel each other out. And yeah, that's it. And I think that's the last game, Lee, as well.
Yeah, that's the last game. Thank you to everybody for watching the video. Put your predictions in the chat. Let us know if you think we have got those about right for your club, or if you don't agree with us, tell us why you don't agree with us. Have we got something wrong? Have we missed something about your club? Do you agree with Bez or West Brom going down? Or do you agree with me and think it will be someone else? Like I said, get your comments in. We do reply to them all. And thank you for watching. Until next time, we will be doing a review of these results as well. So look out for the video on that one. Please like and share the video as well. It does really help us. Thanks again for watching.
Good night, all.